1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey, isn't it nice that Donald Trump doesn't put up with mess in the NATO thing and these Democrats and stuff? It's so nice. I noticed that, right now they're having these hearings in the House so-called, I'm going to try not to do the air quotes, all right, Jeanette? House so-called Judiciary Committee hearings. They're interviewing a bunch of liberal professors, and these professors just look like liberals. One of them is an okay guy, Jonathan Turley. He's liberal, but he's more like fair-minded. He realizes that this stuff is a joke and stuff like that. I'm assuming, because he generally sees through the bogus speech, which is long for BS, bogus speech. And so it's like they're scrutinizing Trump for doing stuff that he has a right as the president to do. So it's so ridiculous. But that's not even really what I want to talk about today. This is the Hake Report. I am James Hake, as you know, probably. And it is Wednesday, December 4th, 2019. Men's Forum tomorrow, much needed, guys. The men's forums are always a highlight meeting in the month. They're always a highlight. And no matter how tired you are, come 7 p.m., you leave refreshed. And maybe a little tired, but you're like, man, that was a good conversation. Important. So I definitely recommend it. Boomy789 says, Hake looked like he is putting on weight. You know who else is putting on weight, I noticed? Because sometimes I watch Fox News. That guy, Steve Doocy's son. Or is Steve Doocy the son? He's getting a little fatter. I notice. Anyway, it's winter, right? This is my winter, whatever you want to call it, fat. Anyways, so I have some information for you and a little clip that I came across, which is so funny. I came across this on our Discord. I bet you guys, some of you didn't even know that we have a Discord. And those who know, some of you probably forgot we had a Discord, Jesse Lee Peterson Discord. And those who didn't forget are always dealing with the trolls on the Discord. But we have this thing called Discord. And some of the older people try to access it and they don't know how to work it. And I understand that. I get on there sometimes and I like to check in every now and then. And when I say every now and then, I mean like every few months. But I'm saying this, but I would like to try to get on it a little bit more frequently. Because people are asking like, oh, do you guys have a forum where people can interact other than the YouTube chat? And you never know what's going to happen with YouTube, of course. So I was on the Discord and looking at Jesse Lee Peterson memes. And I came across this interesting meme that was in the form of a cartoon video by one of these creative Asian named people. This person with an Asian character username, like 2 characters or so. And it is so interesting. It was funny, very brief. And so I just wanted to show, I have the screenshot of the post that I can show you, I think. And then I also have the video that I would like to show you. And then I'll talk to you about Bible verse and other stuff. It's a very brief video, but you see this. Can anybody read that character in there? It says, showing what? Nah, I don't know. But it's a Jesse meme submission. And it says, here, an animation from me. And this person looks like an anime character. Anime is Japanimation, right? Something like that. So here's this brief video, and it's a cartoon. For those of you who are listening, it's a cartoon with God and Jesus talking to each other, drinking their coffee. And it's narrated and voiced by Jesse Lee Peterson. So here's that brief cartoon for you guys. Listen to this.
God and Jesus must be having their coffee, sitting back and just shaking their head. And Jesus like, Daddy, why did you make black people? And the dad says to the son, I don't know, I wasn't thinking.
I just thought I would share that with you. It's so beautiful. The meme makers know how to pick them. And, I don't know anything about this Rodney Reed thing. At the end of the Jesse Lee Peterson show, Jesse had a guest who was late, black. Amazing Lucas. I've heard of him. I've seen some of his videos, I think. He's referenced Jesse talking about beta. He saw some video of people acting like total betas, and it made him think of Jesse Lee Peterson saying beta, I think, if I remember if I'm thinking of the same black guy on YouTube. Interesting. But he was debating a caller about this black man, I guess, named Rodney Reed, who was, I guess, convicted of rape or something like that, and now they're overturning it. And I don't know anything about it. I haven't followed it at all. I've seen the name floating around for a few weeks, I guess, a couple weeks, but haven't dug into it at all. And another story that I haven't really dug into much, except for a brief few articles, has been this Epstein thing. I've seen, the media presents their side of things, and they tend to wash it to fit what they're talking about. And the so-called victim in this, who's speaking out most prominently in it, I haven't really liked the way that she's presented herself. She's been talking about girl victimhood and stuff like that when she was participating in it, according to her. And she's kind of cast it as a men versus women thing when it shouldn't be about that. So the media is using her to attack men, and they're not really attacking true guilty people. So I have a little bit more about that. I covered it a little bit at the beginning of the show. Somebody told me in the comment section, and it was repeated in the news segment that I reported about Epstein allegedly being a Mossad agent or something like that. Mossad being the Israel version of like CIA or something like that, right? Who knows? But there's all kinds of stories and stuff like that. Who knows? So I wanted to tell you guys about this Bible verse that we came across last night, and I say we being the faithful watchers of the Bond Rebuilding the Man YouTube channel, because we watched a premiere of a Sunday service that aired from February 1st, 2009, over 10 and a half years ago. The title of the video is called Do You Know God? And I found the passage that we were reading from in that church service. And I just wanted to briefly read it to you real quick and make a couple of points. Speaking of God and Jesus, right? So, and then I will get to calls. Appreciate you guys calling in and holding on or whatever. So, 1 John 2, verses 22 through 29, whatever. Speaking of James is a recovering Bible thumper. So it goes, who is a liar but he who denies that Jesus is the Christ? And I find that line interesting because people try to accuse Jesse Lee Peterson of denying Jesus, but he's just saying that Jesus is not God. He's not saying that Jesus is not the Christ. Very big difference, people. So it goes on. He is the Antichrist who denies the Father and the Son. Whoever denies the Son does not have the Father either. He who acknowledges the Son has the Father also. And I say part of like denying the Son is denying what the Son said. And the Son said, be perfect, stop sinning, things along those lines. And then the people that so-called believe in Jesus, they outright deny what he says. They say, oh, you do continue to sin. You do still sin after being born again. So, anyways, it goes on. Therefore, let that abide in you, which you heard from the beginning. If what you heard from the beginning abides in you, you also will abide in the Son and in the Father. And this is the promise that he has promised us, eternal life. These things I have written to you concerning those who try to deceive you, which has been like forever, right? The snake deceived the woman who made the man listen to her. But the anointing which you received from him abides in you, and you do not need that anyone teach you. And you do not need that anyone teach you. But as the same anointing teaches you concerning all things, and it is true and it is not a lie, and just as it has taught you, you will abide in him. So it's very interesting. Jesse says, Jesse repeated that line in the church service, the Sunday service from Bond from 2009, talking about you don't need anyone to teach you. But meanwhile, the fake Christians are all talking about, oh, you need to have a pastor over you, you need to go to seminary and all that stuff. But it says you do not need that anyone teach you. Aha! So he is right about that. Jesse's right about that too. Right again, Jesse Lee Peterson. And then at the end it says, and now little children abide in him, that when he appears, we may have confidence and not be ashamed before him at his coming. A whole lot of people are going to be ashamed, I think. If you know that he is righteous, you know that everyone who practices righteousness is born of him. Meanwhile, all the rest of the Christians today, they talk about, I'm a sinner, I'm a bad person, so-called saved by grace. So much for the grace if it's not saving you from the evilness. So I just thought that was an interesting passage to completely verifies everything that Jesse talks about. And that's in the Bible. It's a fact. So let me get to a caller or two, and then I'll get to this. They're teaching social justice, brainwashing the children, teaching basically far-left, liberal, anti-American politics to elementary school children. So blatantly, it's in their main school signs. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to explain about Willie Nelson quitting pot. It's, it just makes sense once you hear the story. And then hopefully I'll get to the Time's Up thing, which is the black version of #MeToo. Oh, you should, while you're at it, Google Time's Up founder. It's a woman. It's a black woman. Let me get to Tony out of West Palm, Florida. Tony, how are you?
James Hake, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for calling.
Good. I just wanted to touch upon what I spoke about earlier with Lucas. I'm not going to get into details because he's not here to defend himself.
Okay.
But I want everybody to take note that he's basing his entire premise and information off a documentary. And we all know how that turned out with the Central Park Five.
Yeah, documentaries can be either lies or truth. Yep, that's true.
You can go look at that documentary that he's mentioning, and it's an absolute propaganda piece that doesn't talk about all of the piles of evidence that proves Rodney Reed is guilty. And just to follow up on one more thing.
What got you interested in this story, Tony? Out of curiosity.
On October 9th, 2019, I was watching Tucker Carlson, and he spoke about this prisoner being freed from the first step back that went after and killed somebody. And I was so angry by that because this whole time I was lied to, thinking, it's only nonviolent offenders that are being free.
Right.
I bought into that whole lie of, it was a bunch of pot smokers. So that episode of Tucker Carlson set me down this deep rabbit hole of investigating all these claims of, this guy didn't do it, and this criminal justice reform bill is good, and and so-called conservatives supporting it. So that's really what trickled it. But I'm so sick and tired of these liars with big platforms claiming that Rodney Reed is innocent based upon a propaganda piece documentary. If you notice, when I came at him with actual facts, he stuttered and had no answer. I mean, who the hell believes that a woman goes home to her fiancé with the saliva of the man she cheated on him on her chest and the semen of the man she cheated on him
I don't want to. It's gross. Okay. Yeah. It is crazy. There is a push by the. You ever heard of Marilyn Mosby, the state's attorney from Baltimore?
No.
Baltimore.
I have not. Tell me about her.
So, Baltimore, Maryland, right? Marilyn Mosby, I covered this a week or so ago. She was behind the social justice push, which is non-justice, right? Push to prosecute the 6 cops who were involved, who were around when Freddie Gray, the drug dealer, ran away from cops, got himself injured severely to his spine, and died, I guess, on the ride to the hospital or whatever. Freddie Gray, the drug dealer, in a rough area, runs away from the cops, gets chased by them, and gets himself injured and then killed. Dies, I guess, in the hospital or something. And she's like, I've heard your calls of no justice, no peace. And then she calls for peace 3 or 4 weeks after rioting, constant rioting in the city of Baltimore, which is, frequently had riots over history.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so, like, since then, now, that was back in 2015, 2014, whatever. And today, she's letting criminals out of jail who supposedly have been shown to be innocent or shown that they were wrongly convicted, supposedly. And I would imagine that some really were wrongly convicted, and I have my doubts about others, maybe. You never know. And you can't have any faith in a woman like her who takes the side of the blackness.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm all for it. Look, if you're innocent and you're in jail, I'll be the first one to support you.
Right.
But that's not what's going on here. You need to look into the financing. Let's start with Rodney Reed, the so-called Innocence Project.
Okay.
That's a George Soros funded organization, and one of the founders was the guy that helped O.J. Simpson get off scot-free. Then you need to look at all of the district attorneys that are being funded by George Soros and their campaigns in New York City, Philadelphia, New Jersey, San Francisco. There was a progressive prosecutor that was just elected, George Soros funded. He was the son of underground, what's it called? Those terrorists in the 70s.
The Weather Underground.
The Weather Underground. He was the son of one of the leaders of the Weather
Underground. Oh,
yeah,
that was in San Francisco, right? Or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what these guys are doing is that they're taking murder cases and making them aggravated assault cases.
Right.
They're taking armed robberies and making it was just an assault.
Yep.
So they're downgrading the charges, and they keep on putting these criminals in and out of jail. And they're also, a lot of them in Philadelphia and Baltimore, they're selecting particular black juries that just won't convict black people.
Yeah.
They call it a Bronx jury. You can look into that as well. They just refuse to convict black people. It doesn't matter if there's piles of evidence. Not guilty, walk away.
Yeah.
That's what happened with Michael White in Philadelphia. Michael White was a man who stabbed somebody in the back. He stabbed a white man in the back, a 37-year-old real estate ex-football star. He ran up to him, and there was a short argument, stabbed him in the back. To make a long story short, endless amounts of evidence. Jury says not guilty. He's like a hero in Philadelphia now.
Killed the guy?
Insane. He killed him, yeah. His name is Michael White.
Okay.
And you can look up a Philadelphia stabbing, Michael White. And I don't know.
I appreciate all this, Tony. Are you the one that we talked in the past, and I said on Instagram, like, Trump
Yeah,
is a
that's
law
my
and order guy?
opinion.
Okay. I appreciate it, Tony. Good luck to you,
All right,
man.
James.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
Let me quickly get to Charles out of St. Louis, Missouri, and then I'll get to more stuff. Charles, what's up?
Hey.
Long time no hear.
Huh?
I said long time no hear. You're coming in muffled, though.
Hold on.
All right. You're sounding a little better now. Stay
How's
close.
that?
Much better.
Okay. I wanted your opinion. Okay?
Yeah.
Where did Christianity come from?
Christianity came from Jesus.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, huh?
No.
All right. What's your opinion?
Well, Jesus was a Jew.
I know, but he was the
Judaism.
Christ from whom Christianity came.
Well, he was. What does the word Christ mean?
Christ means Messiah.
He was the Messiah to bring what?
To bring peace on earth, goodwill towards men, or something like that.
Clarity to his Father's word.
Okay.
Okay. He was still a practicing Hasidic Jew. He didn't change. He didn't bring a new religion in. He didn't come to change his Father's word. So where do we get Christianity from?
Christianity is from the Jews.
No.
Yes,
They
huh?
rejected Christ.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
If they all rejected Christ, then there wouldn't have been Christianity. Duh.
No.
Yes.
Duh. Where did Christianity come from?
I just
Where
told
did we
you.
get it from?
Christ and the Jews and the non-Jews, all of whom accepted Christ. All of whom believed that Jesus was God's son.
Okay.
Because Jesus spoke with
Who's
authority.
the head of the Christian church? Okay, what's the head of the Christian church?
This is boring. Christ is the
No,
head.
but what is it?
Christ. Jesus.
No.
Yes, huh?
What
Yes,
church
yes.
is the head
No, it's
of
not.
the Christian church?
No, it's not.
Huh?
Christ is the head of the church. It's in the Bible. It's a fact. But thank you, Charles.
Of
Very
his
interesting.
Church. What? One, we get our Christianity from Rome.
Speak for yourself.
Well, that's where Christianity comes from.
I don't know.
You know, the Pope and all that, Catholic.
Right, yeah. I've heard of them.
Yeah. And it's a twisted version of what Jesus taught.
Did you hear that passage I wrote where it says, "You do not need that anyone teach you"?
Yes, I heard.
So then the real Christians don't get it from Rome or the Pope?
Well, one, like almost everything that Jesse says, it's a twisted truth.
Now you're lying.
And how can I be lying?
Because you're saying that Jesse says twisted truth. You're the one coming in here twisted.
What am I saying that's twisted?
You're saying that that Rome is the head of the church and that Jesse's stuff is twisted. You're twisted. But man, make your point and then let's go. And then I got to go.
Well, I find it very interesting that you and Jesse have a never-ending barrage on black people when the original black people were black.
Huh? What?
Adam and Eve.
Oh, gosh. Come on. This is like, what does this have to do with
what? Africa, didn't they?
What does this have to do with what you were talking about?
From the continent of
Man,
Africa?
Charles, how old are you again?
Older than you, Jen.
That's a shame. It's bad enough that I'm my age, and it is bad. I admit, I guess.
So you deny
Maybe we shouldn't put a time
Adam
limit
and Eve
on how we are, but
and Eden was in the heart of Africa.
be patient with the black people. Charles, man.
Well, we patient
Charles,
with
man,
white
you have
people,
like the
too.
wrong focus. Nobody cares about
Well-
this stuff. This is so shallow.
Evidently, y'all care about it because
No, you're the one caring
7
about
days
it.
a week, that's all you preach.
We don't preach about Adam and Eve being black. That's you. But
no,
man,
you
I gotta
beside
go.
Color,
This is a waste
people
of time.
color,
I'm gonna hang up on you if you don't say
you
bye.
have an attack
You say bye.
on people of color.
All right, I gotta go, Charles. Take care, man.
Shalom.
That means peace or wholeness or something, right? All right, take care. So, I'm going to get to you, Rick, and everybody else, but let me quickly just show you guys this photograph that I took. I took a little walk, you know, getting out of my beta back and my beta fat and stuff like that. And so I took a walk in the neighborhood and saw this sign. It's a school sign. It says Crescent Heights, which is, you know, nearby to here. And if you zoom in on it, if you look closely, it says Social Justice right below Crescent Heights, which is the name of the school, I guess. Social Justice and STEAM. Wow, what a beautiful photograph. Taken on an iPhone 7 Plus. Social Justice and STEAM Magnet Elementary School. Elementary school. Elementary school, for those who don't know, means basically what? Kindergarten? Oh, you brightened it? Thank you, Joel. Elementary school means like kindergarten through what, 6th grade or something like that, 5th grade. Maybe that counts as middle school because they have something called middle school now, which I didn't have. But STEAM, for those who don't know, that's kind of like STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. I guess they capitalize the A for this particular sign. And Magnet Elementary School means it has like a special focus that other schools don't have, and it's meant to attract a more diverse student body throughout a school district. But anyways, the point is social justice. Social justice is not justice, and it doesn't have anything to do with education or anything. Fake education. That's what they're getting here, apparently. I mean, except for science, technology, engineering, math. Those things you can educate people on, kids. But social justice, that's brainwashing. That's far left liberal stuff. Might as well say they would be all mad if it was a public school teaching Christianity. But social justice is an anti-Christian religion. Social justice is not justice. That means they push the false notion of racism, sexism, homophobiaism, anti-transgenderism, and all those things that Jesse Lee Peterson talks about. It basically means liberals are teaching liberalism to the children going to this school. I guess brainwashed children who go to, I cracked again. I guess brainwashed children who grew up to think that Kamala Harris quitting the Democrat primary race is a sign of white supremacy in the Democrat Party they grew up in social justice schools, I guess. And they also, by the way, grew up to believe in hate speech, such as the founder of Patreon does. This founder of Patreon is so high-pitched voiced, and I don't know, is he like, I don't want to get into it, but he's not a clear thinker. He's a phony. I was watching his explanation for banning Lauren Southern back a couple years ago, because Lauren Southern famously did this stunt. I call it a PR stunt, where she went on a raft and tried to block the refugees from coming in. And so his reasoning was, she put lives at risk. And so because she did that in her personal life or public life or whatever, he kicked her off Patreon because it could put lives at risk. Never mind all the people that support abortion. Killing lives, blatantly killing lives, regardless of whether you're accepting refugees into Europe from other more southern countries. So I was reading this piece about Sargon of Akkad's being banned on Patreon, and I have a little excerpt, little bit of writing that I read about it. And Patreon has a ridiculous definition, according to this outlet, pactpub, something like .com, about when Sargon of Akkad, who came on the Jesse Lee Peterson show yesterday, was banned. According to Patreon's community guidelines, here's a quote from Patreon's website, I guess. Hate speech, which they believe in, includes serious attacks or even negative generalizations of people based on their race and sexual orientation. And then it goes on to talk about Carl Benjamin, a.k.a. Sargon of Akkad. And negative generalizations about, or so-called based on people's race or so-called sexual orientation, which means homosexuals, are usually the truth, and it's not even really based. It's very subjective to say that it's based on them being black, because when Jesse talks about blacks, it's not based on them being black. It's based on how they act, how way too many of them act. Not all, but most, right? And same thing with the homosexuals and stuff like that. And by definition, homosexuality is not a logical thing to be or moral. So it is just very interesting that generalizations, which is an important part of thinking logically, everybody generalizes, you're supposed to. But generalization is hate speech, according to Patreon. Basically, there's definition means they hate the truth, because it includes true generalizations, and as long as they're negative, it's hate, and false generalizations, which they're the ones promoting. So dumb. Let me get to some more callers, and then hopefully I will get to Willie Nelson and Time's Up. Two separate stories. There's nothing to do with Time's Up regarding Willie Nelson. Don't get nervous. Rick out of Hampton, Virginia. What's up, Rick?
What's up, Jake? What's going on with the Hake report? La, la, la. What's going on, Brother James?
Nothing. It's going great. Appreciate you.
Man, what do you think about, what's that, Rodney Reed?
I don't know anything about it. But I tend to be suspicious when any liberal is trying to say that somebody's innocent.
You know, my thing, I'm pro-death penalty. The scriptures say death penalty is in God's will. So I'm pro-death penalty. Now, however, I did jury through this past summer. Now, for me to vote for somebody to get the death penalty, they got to be a shadow of doubt evidence.
Right.
You know, it can't be no possible mistakes. Because I find out if there was some errors, you know, I wouldn't vote for them to get the death penalty, because that's going to be on me.
Yep.
You know, and I believe to me, it's probably too many mistakes that have been made, and he probably did it. But, you know, about the mistakes being made, you know, it's hard to sentence a man to death if you know there have been mistakes made, you know? What's your take on that?
You know, I don't know anything about this story at all. I didn't, I don't know. So I can't really comment on it.
Because I really don't know that much about it myself. All I know is Mr. Rodney Reed put himself in a terrible situation, messing with somebody's wife in the first place.
You know, it's what I will say is that it's so evil that they sick the public on these people and on these stories, whether they're talking about the cops or the prosecutors or the judges or the juries or the perpetrators or the victims or the falsely accused or whatever, in order to get the government to do the so-called right thing, or the government to do something. That's what you see with what I believe that we saw with the case of that guy who killed Trayvon Martin in self-defense. George Zimmerman. He was charged with murder.
That's right.
Which is ridiculous. And
you know what?
And same thing with a whole bunch of different stories. For example, the Marilyn Mosby wanting to prosecute the 6 cops in the Freddie Gray trial. Freddie Gray death.
Freddie, it's amazing how criminals like that, Eric Gann up there in New York. Now, when they do any criminal activity, their health is not playing a role at all. So they doing their thing. But
they're just
law enforcement approaches, I can't breathe.
Right.
I can't walk. But you were doing fine while you was committing your crime.
Right.
You know, he had perfect health.
Well, reportedly, he was not in the midst of committing a crime after all, but he still resisted arrest. He's like, no, I'm done with this. This ends today. And he was right about that.
Yeah. Hey, I tell my son, I say, look, don't be emotional. Anytime you decide on anything, decide on good and evil. Don't go off your emotions. Don't listen to CNN News. But CNN News, to me, all their agenda is to push liberalism and the homosexual agenda to me, because to me, like half the male reporters on CNN to me are gay.
Right.
That's just me, my opinion. You know, I mean, you see how they act when they get in the interview. They get to screaming, their nostrils all big, screaming, all out of control, man.
Yep.
And it sickens me to see men act that way. And what's that Cuomo guy? He's such a beta.
Who, Andrew Cuomo?
Yeah, is that Mario Cuomo's son or something?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I don't know. I can't keep those Cuomos straight. I just know that Chris Cuomo's the CNN one. Frito.
Oh, okay, yeah. And to me, he just is beta, just a screaming.
Right.
I can't stand to see men scream like women. We're supposed to be calm and
I know.
talk our problems out. You know what I'm saying, James?
Yep. And it's a shame that politics are affecting the so-called justice system. Yeah.
I'm like, you did a crime, you got to pay. You know, everybody wants to do the, you know how you hear the saying, I want to do me. But when they got to go to jail, man, they screaming all over the place. You put me in jail because I'm black. All that mess, you know, it's ridiculous.
I appreciate it, Rick. Thank you, man.
No problem, James. Love you, brother. Keep up the good work.
All right. You as well. Ursula out of Sacramento, California. Ursula, first-time caller. What's up?
Hi.
Hey.
And great hair, by the way.
Say that again?
Great hair.
Great hair? Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So I really want you to become a Catholic, and I want I want Jesse to become a Catholic. I want everyone to become a Catholic because it is the true religion.
And why do you say that? Well, first of all, let me just quickly say, good luck getting Jesse to become a Catholic, or me, to be honest. But good luck getting Jesse to become a Catholic.
So you seem like you're into your heritage, your ethnicity, right, James?
No, I'm
No?
I'm not.
Oh,
I know a
okay,
little
well,
bit about it. I know a little bit about it. It's kind of mildly interesting.
Well, okay, here's my point. First of all, that's disappointing because we should, recognize our ancestors.
I guess,
mean,
but
right?
it's just hard to know nowadays. And then it's ill-advised, according to some, to get your 23andMe done or your
Oh, well,
give your
okay,
DNA.
I'm not talking about that. But, okay, let me get to my point.
Okay.
All of our ancestors, if they were Christians, they were Catholic up until like whenever Luther came around. That's when the Reformation happened. Luther was an anti-Semite. By the way, he believed in keeping a pope. Okay, you guys are all misled. You're all heretics, and I'm just concerned for your salvation.
Okay, I appreciate that.
All Christians were Catholics. And the body
but wait,
of Christ
what is,
that you guys call
you said that he was
cracker is actually the body of Christ. It's Jesus.
You
His
said that
consecrated body.
there's no such thing as anti-Semitism, though. Why do you call Luther an anti-Semite? And what does that have to do with Christianity? Yes, you should love all
I'm
people.
letting you know because you guys are so pro-Israel there that, the person that you support, whether you admit you support him, if you're a Protestant, and if you're not a Catholic, you're a Protestant, then you are following the works of someone who also changed the scripture, by the way.
Hey,
There's no
but
place
Ursula,
in the Bible where it says by faith alone, except where it says that it's not by faith alone.
Ursula, did you hear my conversation with Charles from St. Louis, Missouri?
Yeah, that's why I called in.
And what did you think of Charles?
You know what? I can't comment that much because he seems, I don't know. I wasn't so sure. And I'm sorry to call, too, because I really hate when females call into the show.
Oh.
Or when they call in. I don't know why.
No worries.
But anyway.
But
okay,
I would
here's
say
the thing. Let me say
that you're focusing too much on like history stuff when
No.
the
Oh, my
Bible.
gosh. Okay,
Listen.
please.
Let me make my point
I'll
though.
listen.
Yeah.
I'll listen because I am a Catholic and we listen to men. We let men lead.
Ah, nice. No, you don't have to let men lead. Men are supposed to lead regardless of whether you let. But anyways.
That's true. You're right.
The Bible says you do not need that any man teach you or anyone teach you. So
You're cherry picking the Bible.
hold on.
Cherry-picking the Bible.
Hold on. Don't be accusing me of cherry picking. That's a statement. That's a fact. You don't need that anyone teach you. So if you or Jesse or anyone else is a real Christian, then you're not taught by passed down from all these people that you're referencing, whether Luther or the Pope or anything.
Frankly, this is weak. This is weak, James. I mean, look at what's happening.
But back at you, it's weak.
Christian churches. Listen, please listen for a second.
Okay.
I care about your soul, okay?
It's not good to do that.
What?
It's not good to care about people's souls.
Nonsense. Of course.
God doesn't care.
That's such a ridiculous statement, and your heresy is showing, quite frankly.
God doesn't care. You'll notice that God doesn't care. He lets people go to hell.
Listen, the bottom line is in the
Jesse says
Christian churches
okay.
that they're doing gay marriage, they're having females lead the church, and the Catholic Church is always under attack because it's the true religion. Our Pope is, I don't know if he's Antichrist or if he's just, I don't know, but true Catholics, we really can't stand this Pope, and we don't respect him, and we don't follow him.
All right,
anyway,
appreciate it.
Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, thank you, Ursula.
And I just, please don't call the Eucharist a cracker. It's so disgusting.
I never called it that.
Yeah, actually you did.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry. Your show did. And you guys were laughing about it. It was just kind of gross. And I just would like to see you guys be
you're saying that that's Jesus. You're saying that that's Jesus' body.
Religion, the one everybody was before 1470.
Do you think that God cares that people
yes, I do
laugh
think
about
God
the
cares.
cracker?
And let me tell you why. Because there's 40,000 denominations of Protestant. This one's telling you abundance, all these different things. You go to Joel Osteen, you hear one thing. You go to this one, you hear another thing. This one, you go to Jesse, you hear Jesus isn't God. I mean, there's a lot of misinformation out there. That's all I'm saying.
I know.
That's all I'm saying.
And passion, your passion is not helping you.
I'm a woman. Do you accept?
No, that's no
I'm
excuse. You can't be saying I'm a woman. I can't help my passion. You just, but you have to admit that it's.
Catholics let men lead, and just let me repeat that. Catholics accept the natural order. In a Catholic wedding, you will hear love, honor, and obey.
Right on.
Just saying.
Appreciate it, Ursula.
We're not just don't demonize us as much, maybe. Okay, James. I've heard you say
I don't demonize Catholics.
And I've called you on it before. Well, I have a message today about hey, Sean Handy's Catholic. There's lots of good Catholics out there.
No man is good. But I don't demonize Catholics. I'm just leery about Catholics. And
you're leery
to be honest,
that all Christians were wrong for 1,500 years? I don't think so.
Yeah. I think most Christians are not true.
Oh, I know. I mean, I get all that.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah.
All right. Appreciate it, Ursula. Thank you for the input, and thanks for getting it off your chest about that.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Take care. So, oh man, let me quickly get to Dave out of Los Angeles, California. Dave, what's up?
Hey, James. Just wanted to comment on the photo you took. I just wanted to kind of give you my opinion about it.
Okay.
Good photo, and we got to stop the indoctrination, man. And I was speaking to someone about it. But basically, it has to stop, man, because it just shows that there's indoctrination, and the Fed, the President Trump, through the Secretary of Education, has to stop the funds all the way from the top to the bottom and stop these schools from their ideologies, man, because it's churning out these. I read a poll about half of millennials, or whatever that means, like 20s or up to 30-year-olds or whatever, half of them believe that socialism, communism is cool. It's a good thing. It's just horrifying, but that's all. I just wanted to comment on that, man. You're doing a great job, you and Jesse, and I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you, man. Have you heard anything about Trump and education? Because you say that he needs to defund them, or through the education department. But has there been any indication that he's concerned about this or knows about it?
yes, he initiated something that he said that if there are any conservative groups on campus that feel like they're not being heard or they're being discriminated against, that you have a direct line to the White House, and that they're going to lose their funding over that. But it's so
that's more universities though.
Because, pardon me?
That sounds like more like universities and maybe high schools. But because
you're right.
Because elementary schools don't have clubs like that. I mean, for the most part.
Exactly.
The students don't.
So how
have
do you
sense
fix it? I guess the only way to do it through state, local, and through the Fed.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't know what the solution is except for all these. That's just just seeing that sign, it just gets you going. Like, oh man, they're just indoctrinating kids, man.
Yeah.
So that it's just crazy.
Yep. Yeah, you're right, man. Another guy made a point a week ago or so that people should get involved in local politics, and that's true. It's true. Appreciate it, Dave.
Thank
Anything
you.
else?
And also one more thing, if you check out this, I saw this. It was a highlight channel of Nick Fuentes, and it just showed a 15-minute interview with Ann Coulter about immigration. Really interesting too, about how everything's turning blue, and it's just bad. But anyway, man, thank you so much, man. You're doing a great job, you and the guys. Thank you, man.
Appreciate it, Dave. Thanks, man. Are you coming to the men's forum tomorrow?
Is it this Thursday?
Yeah, it's tomorrow. Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow. Oh wow, tomorrow. Yeah, I'd like to, man. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, if you're free, make sure you make it. It's a good. It's an excellent meeting.
Excellent. Thank you for the invite, man.
All right.
Check it out.
Yeah, 7
right.
p.m.
Thanks, James.
All right.
Cool, 7 p.m. Right on. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.
So, let me quickly tell you guys about Willie Nelson quitting pot. It's just a funny thing to me. And it's actually not that funny because actually he damaged his lungs doing other things. But anyways, Willie Nelson is the country music singer who made the song On the Road Again. Going places that I never been. Never mind. I can't sing right now. I can sing, but I'm just not going to right now. I don't have anything to hang a key on, right? From the soundtrack to the film, bet you didn't know this, Honeysuckle Rose, on which Willie Nelson starred as the lead actor in 1980, according to Wikipedia. I have the little poster for the Honeysuckle Rose. And you see Willie Nelson looking almost every bit as old as he looks today. Maybe he has more like gray in his hair or brownish in his hair. But he stars in this movie. And he made the song, I guess he maybe made the soundtrack for the song, for the movie, film. So anyways, according to Drudge, Willie Nelson quit pot for health reasons, saying, quote, I have abused my lungs. And this is from USA Today. The country music legend and longtime marijuana legalization advocate, shameful, still touring at 86, that's hats off to him for that, told San Antonio's television station KSAT that in an interview that, quote, breathing is a little difficult these days and I have to be careful. I don't smoke anymore. I take better care of myself today. He grew up in Abbott, Texas, 86 years old. I started smoking cedar bark. Whoever heard of cedar bark? Went from that to cigarettes to whatever, he said. And that almost killed me. He smoked his first joint in 1954, well before most of us were born. In some cases, before our parents were born, right? My parents were both born in 49, 48, something like that. He's done appearances with Snoop Dogg promoting pot. In August, Nelson was forced to quit 6 shows on tour due to breathing issues. Back in May, Nelson told Rolling Stone that marijuana saved my life, really. He explained, I wouldn't have lived 85 years if I'd have kept drinking and smoking like I was when I was 30, 40 years old. I think that weed kept me from wanting to kill people because it's supposed to mellows you out, and probably kept a lot of people from wanting to kill me too, out there drunk, running around. So he's kind of justifying weed as like the lesser of 2 evils, I guess, or 3, which I guess is whatever. Let me quickly tell you about this. Let me tell you about this Time's Up thing. Did you find the photo of the black woman who founded Time's Up? So around the time that the hashtag Me Too movement came out, this lady came forward and created hashtag Time's Up, this black lady. Interesting woman, I guess. I don't remember her name or anything else. Joel may know it. But on Tuesday's Hake Report, I talked about how I don't feel sorry for this Virginia Roberts-Giuffre woman who's being propped up by the media, accusing Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and Prince Andrew and Alan Dershowitz, the Harvard liberal guy, former law professor, of like having sex with her or pressuring her to have sex with men, referring to Epstein and Ghislaine. I think that she should have more class. She's a mother, married. She should talk to authorities. I would, if I were that woman or her husband, which I don't know if I would marry a woman like that. I would just say talk to the authorities. Don't talk to the media. You're just like kind of making yourself look bad. Because she is. Like, she's making drama, talking a little too much details about her supposed sex with Prince Andrew. Anyways, that's, to me, I see that as linked to the hashtag Me Too movement. It is going to end up being an attack on men. It's going to be twisted into an attack on all men, like I've said before. But here's this hashtag Time's Up woman who founded Time's Up. And Time's Up, you look on their Twitter, and they're founded to represent and push for equality and fight discrimination against women of all kinds in the workplace, as if women should even be in the workplace. For the most part, they should not, especially, they should be pushing to get married, have kids, but instead they're pushing careers and selfishness. Black female actress Gabrielle Union, who plays a slut on TV, to be honest, is part of this hashtag Time's Up movement. The black SJW version of the SJW hashtag Me Too. Shame on NBA star Dwayne Wade, a one-time Black Lives Matter supporter, he probably still does, for not putting her in line. Because Gabrielle Union is attacking America's Got Talent, which was a TV show on NBC started by this British man, Simon Cowell. I reported on this on Hake News, first hour, Tuesday, December 3rd, yesterday, top of the first hour. I tend to kind of like Simon Cowell as far as mainstream celebrities go. He seems like one of the more decent ones. I could be wrong. But this Union, why are the pretty girls like always so evil? Not always. Like Gabrielle Union, 47 years old, doesn't look it. Very pretty, but ugly inside. And she's accusing them of there go the air quotes. I'm sorry, Jeanette. A toxic culture in America's Got Talent with off-color jokes by guys like Jay Leno, who's kind of old school. And by off-color, I just mean like jokes about Koreans or something like that. Supposedly racist jokes, like they're so serious. And Simon Cowell, being an old school Brit, smoking indoors, and she's complaining about that. And she got comments about, oh, you're dressing too black, or you're not prettying up enough, or something like that. It's so lame. So she's calling it toxic culture. And you look at her Twitter feed, it's all just SJW, social justice warrior, meaning anti-white, anti-men stuff, of obviously anti-Christian. And she's, I've shown you pictures of her taking her stepson, her husband, and her husband's first wife's son, Zion, to like homosexual pride rallies. So this woman is evil, and then there's other people joining in on her attack on America's Got Talent, suing. They want money. They've hired a lawyer that got Megyn Kelly a bunch of money out of NBC when she got out of NBC. Megyn Kelly being the woman who attacked Trump back when she was on Fox News. So it's just ridiculous. Time's Up. That's it. And they're pushing this hashtag Time's Up. It's a mess. And it goes to Jesse's point about blacks being used or willingly using themselves, being created for destruction. You know how the Bible says God made some for noble purposes and some for ignoble? Well, nowadays, from everything I've seen, they're being used for ignoble purposes, exposing evil. And evil is interesting because Trump, for example, seems like doing what's right or standing on what's right, and he's brought out the worst in the evil people, and that evil has awakened a lot of people. People are like, oh, Trump didn't really wake me up, but the evil reaction against him, or the evil that has come out since he's come on the scene, has awakened me. So it does serve a purpose. But that's interesting. It's disgusting. Alexa out of Arkansas. First-time caller. Alexa, how are you?
I'm great, James. Thank you for taking my call, man. I really appreciate it. I love you and Jesse quite a bit. I watch you guys' shows a lot.
Nice. Right on. Did I pronounce your name right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, you got it.
Spell
like
it?
Amazon.
Okay. And it's spelled like the Amazon, Alexa?
No, it's spelled differently, but I'd rather not spell it.
Okay, yeah. Because then you could get doxxed because it's an unusual name. All right, man. Appreciate it.
Indeed. Yeah. So my question for you is, you were mentioning earlier about someone else had called about indoctrination in schools, and you guys were having a conversation about if you think Trump is doing enough or if he's doing anything at all about this. And I wanted to, I guess, get your thoughts on, do you think that Trump is doing enough for the conservative social movement, I guess? I mean, I hear a lot of talk about taxation and, economic things.
Right.
It seems like conservatives are still getting censored on social media, not even just social media, but platforms like YouTube and everywhere on the internet. Kids are getting indoctrinated. I've always seen the articles and stuff about, the transgender stuff in schools, but I've actually heard like anecdotes from people I know now about, their little brother, their little sister going to school and being taught about transgenders and gender theory and everything like that. And it just seems like Trump is not. I love Trump. I voted for him. I support him. But it seems like he's not, maybe for fear of losing the election or just getting unfavorable, it seems like he's not doing enough or even anything at all for a lot of these social issues that I think are more important than the economic stuff, to be honest.
I really don't know. I don't know if he's doing enough or not. People, a lot of the more independent right, I'll call them. They call them the dissident right or the alt right or the groypers and all of them. And the mainstream Trump supporters do complain that he's not fighting for their free speech enough. And I don't know. I don't know if he's doing enough or not. Maybe there is more than he could do. There's a lot of stuff that us on the outside would like him to do and say and not say and not do. It's really hard to know.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's all on him. Obviously, I think everybody has some responsibility to change the culture we live in.
Very true.
But it would be nice to hear him. I don't know, even mention it. Give some fire to the people who really think this way.
Yeah.
Kind of give us some oomph to have a reason to push against it. Because it seems like we're really fighting without a leader now on these issues.
Yeah. I know what you mean, man. It would be great. It would be awesome if he did. He's dealing with a lot. He's under constant attacks, and he's trying to get a lot done in the meantime too. And as you said, it is up to us. We can't look to him to do everything. And every time he does something or tries to do something, the attacks against what he tries to do just amplifies like crazy, So it is interesting. It's an interesting time. 2020 is going to be drama. I'm looking forward to the fight. We got to keep on pushing.
Me too. Well, thank you for what you guys do, and thank you for taking my call, man.
All right. Thank you, Alexa. Take care.
Take care, man.
All right, guys. We will see you tomorrow on the Jesse Lee Peterson Show, followed by the Hake Report on Jesse's channels. Thank you, Jesse. And thank you guys for continuing to tune in. And hopefully, barring any technical issues, I have another 90s show coming up. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, assuming no issues come up, technical issues, because we do run into those a little bit. But hopefully, a 1996 episode on homelessness is brewing. We shall see. All right, guys, I'll let you know what happens with that. Take care.